A lot of the decor in my home has been thrifted, handmade, or altered in some way. Actually, my very first video that I made for this YouTube channel was precisely on clever ways to repurpose old containers. And though, admittedly, it is a very cringy video, transforming a space on a low budget is still one of my favorite hobbies. I may consider myself a minimalist, but I'm very much a believer that simple doesn't have to be empty white walls and black or beige wardrobes. So today I'll be sharing with you 20 easy ways to upgrade your home decor in under $20. And this works whether you're renting or you own your own home, because you shouldn't have to wait until that forever dream home to enjoy a beautiful cozy space. But make sure you stick to the end for my favorite of all, and it's completely free. So first up is to remove and clean your light fixtures. A few weeks ago, my husband came home and he just kind of looked up at the light and realized that it was like really dark and it had all sorts of gunk and sticky stuff under it in the kitchen. And he removed it and cleaned the inside. And I kid you not, I jumped up and down like, why did I never think of that? Because it was so much brighter, it was so much more beautiful, and we've only lived here for 3 years. So if you've lived in your home for around 2 or 3 years, just take my word for it and remove your light fixtures, give them a good cleaning, and I bet you it will make a huge difference. Light fixtures are one of those things that can really elevate a space, but after you've lived in your home for a while, they can kind of easily deteriorate, get some gunk, maybe get rusty. So just removing these and kind of giving them a good polish, a good cleaning can make a big difference. Next up, use spray paint, chalk paint, stain, or wax to your benefit. Okay, so a big can of paint will cost you more than $20, but you can get a lot of uses out of this. This mirror was actually an old picture frame that I had thrifted. I bought a mirror and had it cut to size at Lowe's. Then I chalk painted it. This planter I spray painted because I didn't like the pattern. For my open laundry, I wanted a cohesive look, so I spray painted my detergent lids, which I just swap out when I buy a new bottle. This memory box was once unstained rough pine with galvanized wood metal. After a good sanding, a stain, and paint, it matches my style so much more. And now it doesn't look like a 50-cent box. I've also seen people spray paint their light fixtures as well to give them a refresh. Your possibilities are endless here. Number 3, get free plants. Plants add life and texture to a space, but they don't have to be expensive. Like we already said, you can spray paint some ugly pots, but you can also even use old containers that you already have. For example, I had this amber jar from my vitamins. You can take cuttings from old plants, place them in water, and grow new plants, or take cuttings from friends. I find that generally plant lovers are happy to share cuttings because they themselves are excited to receive new cuttings as well. Next up, repurpose containers. My very first super cringy video was precisely on different ways to do this. And I've repurposed tin tea boxes for craft organization, old castor oil bottles for household cleaners, supplement bottles for my rosemary hair water. My friend even put this old worn out hat inside a basket to make it easy to water my plant and drain it. I thought this was genius. This sort of takes some creativity, but it's very much a muscle. The more you start to ask yourself how something can be altered or fixed to work for you, the more ideas you'll start to get. But sadly, in today's society, we're just so used to tossing something out when it's no longer useful or no longer works for us. But our ancestors were very much resourceful. And y'all, in today's economy and rising inflation, I think we could all benefit from resourcefulness instead of viewing everything as disposable. So let me know in the comments, what are some ways which you repurpose items? Let us know so that we can all get more ideas and kind of develop that creativity muscle. Number 5, go thrifting with a fixer-upper mindset. So this kind of ties in with the previous point. I've purchased lots of items that weren't exactly what I wanted, but that I knew that I could easily alter. For example, this wooden pencil box cost me 50 cents at a thrift store because it had a company logo on it. After a quick sanding, a stain, it looks good as new. This dress I bought for $6 at a thrift store, but I prefer square neck dresses. So after cutting and sewing the sides, ta-da, I have a dress that I love. So be creative. New doesn't always necessarily mean better. Replace hardware on furniture and use wood marker to restore old wood. For example, you can sand and paint a side table that maybe you bought on Facebook Marketplace or at a thrift store, and then just replace the knobs and it will look like a completely new item. So don't underestimate the power of beautiful hardware. Even though you may think that it's not too noticeable, it's a part of your home that you're quite literally touching on a regular basis. So it makes a big difference. Okay, this next one's pretty odd, but there's a reason for it, I assure you. Take photos of the rooms in your house and place them in an album on your phone for when you go thrifting or shopping. I've been decluttering for so long that I can pretty much tell you where most items in my home are stored. But if you're just getting started with decluttering or simplifying your home, it can be kind of tough to figure out where an item belongs or where it would be nice to place it in. So to give you a visual, use a photo. This way, hopefully you can avoid buying something that looks nice at the store, but you don't really have a home for it in your home. Or it doesn't really match the style that you're going for. Not that things have to be matchy-matchy, by the way. But for us visual folks, a photo can be really useful. This was just a random one, but if you are going thrifting, keep incomplete items in your cart as you go through the store so that while you look, you can give yourself a chance to think of how you can make it work. For example, where I live, I have crazy deal stores close by which sell Amazon returns. Or at least that's what I've been told they do. Let me know if that's not the case. But all too often, they have incomplete items. So as I go along, I will find different pieces that I think kind of match together to see if I can combine the pieces later. So this is what I did with a storage box that I have used to keep my YouTube cords. And keeping items in my cart as I'm shopping also kind of helps me to remove that fear of like, oh, well, what if I miss out on this really good deal? Because you know what, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking about it, but I'm not so attached to it. I'm not just going thrifting for the sake of thrifting. But while I'm at that, I think I am going to make a separate video on thrift shopping because I've lived on thrift shopping. Like everything that I ever had as a kid was pretty much thrifted. So I can think of a couple of tips on thrifting. So stay tuned for that. Number 9 is to create your own artwork. If you're not a great artist, my favorite hack for making art is to use stencil paper. This is how I made both of my kids' Bible verses. You can print whatever image you want, use that stencil paper to draw over the surface, and then just paint in with whatever color. So you don't have to actually be a really good artist to draw something nice. And I've also done this with cards where I pretend like I'm a really good artist and I draw this really beautiful picture and nobody ever knew, like all I did was just use that little stencil paper. Or you can also use a simple craft like pressing flowers or a paint by the number photo. This adds a personal touch that makes a home cozy because you'll have a story to tell. It's more personal. I love this one. Reuse pretty boxes for organization. You don't have to have the luxury storage containers that every organizing influencer wants you to think. I reuse pretty boxes for storage all the time. This Young Living gift box I gave to my daughter so that she could put her dolls in. This lovely black box from my Clever Fox planner was the perfect size for printing paper, so it became my kids' artwork box. And an old flashlight box is now my pencil box. But all that being said, be careful not to hoard pretty boxes that you know for a fact you won't be using. Because a home should be meant to serve you. The stuff in your home should be to serve you, not the other way around. And at that point, you just developed more clutter and more to sift through and hassle through. And number 11, if you want to go the extra mile, you can redecorate cardboard boxes with fabric, paint, or sew on your own covers. If you don't know how to sew, even a glue gun can accomplish this task. These are basket liners that I had sewed to contain our winter blankets. And this box I painted because I hated the pattern that it had. So look around your home and work with what you already have. Remove labels from containers. I've mentioned this in my video on ways to remove visual clutter. If you go to an upscale hotel, chances are they have more sleek decor and they have very minimal visual clutter. I cannot tell you how much a difference this has made in my home. And it can be completely free. I've removed the label from personal care products, laundry detergent bottles, and even went as far as removing the sizing letters on my hangers. It can seem like a waste of time, but I kid you not, removing clutter from your home, and especially visual clutter, can make a huge difference. So be sure to check out that video after this one if you want more free ways to elevate your home. Number 13 is to use appropriate measurements for your artwork. But keep in mind, this should be more of a guide rather than a rule. But if your artwork looks a bit off, it may be that you don't have the right proportions for the wall that you're covering. So take this print, for example. Look at this wall. It looks off. It just doesn't look like it belongs here because of the sizing of the wall versus the painting. And by the way, if you have any ideas on what I could do with this wall, maybe a gallery wall, or maybe just remove it and do an accent wall, I have no clue. So I've kind of left it because I have no idea what to do with this white wall. Versus this painting that my husband made, which clearly looks like it belongs here because of the proportion to the wall that it's placed in. I mean, imagine this tiny stone painting being hung by itself on a huge wall. That wouldn't really do it justice. Number 14 is to use lighting over your artwork for a more sophisticated look. And if you're renting, you can even use battery-operated lights. But this can be an easy way to make your artwork stand out. Lighting is something that I talk about more in depth in my video on ways to make your home cozy on a budget. So if you're enjoying these tips, you'll love that video. Number 15 is to declutter to rearrange. Often moving furniture or items in your home give a sense of newness, and no time is better than after a declutter because you've likely freed some space. So maybe you did a major declutter, and by selling the treadmill, you've now made space for a reading nook where you can rearrange an accent chair. Or maybe you did a smaller declutter and now you've freed up a bin that you can use elsewhere. I love redecorating with items that I already have. 1, because it's free, and 2, because it's a fun way to give new life to your space that may be feeling stale. This next one is so important, and it's to work with your habits. I touched on the topic of addressing your messy zones in my visual clutter video. Often, messes cause our homes to feel chaotic and stressful, and because it feels overwhelming, we procrastinate and hide the mess. So instead of constantly trying to force yourself to develop new habits, try working with your current habits. So for example, we don't have any trash cans in any of our bedrooms because we have the habit of tossing our trash in the kitchen trash can. If you're constantly finding trash in your bedroom, rather than try to force yourself to adopt my habit or someone else's habit, use your own habit and get a trash can for your bedroom. So make sure you look at what your typical habits are. Where do you usually put things away? And store things where you would look for them, not where someone else would look for them. Because again, this is your home. It should work for you. Number 17 is to revive your sofas and chairs. So maybe you're like me and you no longer like the style that you had 8 years ago. Or your sofas are just a bit worn out, but you don't have the budget to swap them out. Something that I like to do is to remove my sofa covers, give them a good wash, fluff up the cushions, and you can also either use an upholstery cleaner or rent a professional one. If I remember correctly, the last time I did this, I paid around $40 to $50 for the entire day, but they also had the option to rent by the hour. Additionally, you can get a sofa or a couch cover for a fresh look, without having to completely replace everything. Number 18 may cost you more than $20, but pay attention to your lighting. Some minimalists will hate me for encouraging you to get a side lamp, a standing lamp, some candles, or some fairy lights, but lighting makes a huge difference in the feel of your home. Bright white overhead lighting gives off this high energy feel that you may want in an office or in a hospital where people should be more focused on a task. But your home should be a safe haven, a comforting place to recharge. Something that I've had for a few years now are these LIFX smart bulbs, which I love because I can set schedules for them to automatically dim in the evenings and be a bit brighter during the day. Warm lighting mimics that cozy feel of a gorgeous sunrise or sunset. So opt for the warmer bulbs instead of a bright daylight bulb. And number 19, I know I said to work with your habits, but garbage is not sexy. So if you can, hide your garbage by using in-cabinet storage, or if possible, get a trash can that has a lid on it, preferably one that you don't have to touch to open, because ew. And lastly, number 20 is to quit following trends and to get honest about what you love. In my recent mini makeover vlog, I shared that I got a very bright patterned rug, which I doubt would ever be placed on the cover of a minimalist magazine. But so what? I like it. It makes me happy. Inspo images can be helpful to figure out what you like and what specific details about those items you enjoy. But if you're constantly looking at trends and what others have, you can easily get sucked into this consumerist trap that always aims to make you feel like you're lacking. And let me just admit from personal experience, if your goal is to have the perfect home, the perfect capsule wardrobe, or the perfect tool set, or whatever, you will never get there. I think I may end up doing a separate video on this topic because I haven't wanted to do a video on capsule wardrobes because I hate the way that they're often presented as though once you have a capsule wardrobe, you're all set and now you've just completely escaped consumerism. When in reality, you'll never stop searching for the perfect piece to complete this perfect capsule wardrobe if you're looking at it like a destination to arrive to. Guess what? Things rip, they tear, they fall apart. You may change sizes, you may move to a different location that requires clothes for different seasons. You may develop new hobbies and now require clothes for those new hobbies. Or you have babies and you want to nurse your babies, but now you need clothing to be able to do that. So whether it's your wardrobe, your home, or any other belonging, we're in this constant change and we're constantly evolving. So by all means, do the things that allow you to enjoy the space that you live in and the things that you love But do not look at it like a destination that you need to arrive to, like this goal, this end goal that you need to obtain. Like once you finally arrive here, then you'll be content. Enjoy and be grateful for your space as it is now. And this attitude will change how you take care of your home. But more importantly, how you live your life. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. And for more on this topic, you can check out my 2 videos on creating a cozy space on a budget and different ways to reduce visual clutter. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!